Welcome to the May 11th meeting of the Education Finance Conference Committee for 2022. I'm Representative Jim Dabney. I have the privilege of chairing the House K-12 Education Finance Committee. To get things started, Mr. Lee, would you please call the roll of the House members?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chair Dabney?
Present.
Representative Richardson?
Present.
Representative Sandstead?
Present.
Representative Hassan?
Present.
Representative Erickson?
Erickson, present.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Ms. Donovan, do you wish to call the roll of the Senate members?
Senator Chamberlain.
Here.
Senator Coleman. Senator Duckworth.
Here.
Senator Eichhorn.
Present.
Senator Uyghur.
Here.
Senator Coleman.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Donovan. Members, one note that staff asked me to forward to you all is being close to the microphone. Apparently, we started strong yesterday, but faded a bit throughout the hearing. So if folks can, pay attention to whether you're muted or not, pay attention whether your mic is on or not for House members, that's a little more challenging, but also be close enough to the mic that you can be heard. Commissioner, good morning. Welcome to the table.
Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you. So wanted to welcome the Commissioner to the table since this is an effort to get to agreement between the House, the Senate, and the administration. We thought it was appropriate, again, this year as we did last year, to have the Commissioner present. Mr. Rooney, good morning. Appreciate your being here as well. Mr. Chair, how long is the Senate available for this morning's portion of the hearing?
The Senate has availability until 10:30 every day.
Outstanding. Thank you.
I will say this, just as you mentioned it now, we are not available Friday or Saturday.
Well, Mr. Chair, we'll be convening on Friday. I know the leadership, as a courtesy to the Senate GOP leadership, agreed to a virtual format on Friday to accommodate your members attending the GOP State Convention in Rochester. So a little preview of coming attractions. We have our agenda here for this morning. If we do not complete the agenda, we will be reconvening at 5 or the call of the chair. You have the gavel on Thursday, and then Friday we'll be convening in a virtual-only format at 9 a.m.
I thank you, Mr. Chair. As I said, we're not available Friday and Saturday for obvious reasons. The Senate schedule is extremely difficult, as you might imagine. So anything past 10:30 today will be extremely difficult to accommodate. We'll see where we're at the end of the hearing today, so we might be able to make adjustments.
Well, Mr. Chair, let's see if we can get through the work. That would certainly be the House's preference. If we're unable to do that, we'll be reconvening at the call of the chair this evening.
Very good.
All right, thank you very much. Then, we wanted to complete the exploration of student and staff mental health that we started on Monday. We concluded Monday with a very powerful testimony from Superintendent Lewandowski of District 287. She's always powerful and will be missed. But we wanted to pick up with Carrie D'Avril. I apologize. I'm sure I did that poorly, but Ms. D'Avril, if you would please come forward. Continuation of District 287. It doesn't matter, I don't think. Choose whichever seat looks good. Please state your name for the record and then proceed with your testimony. Thank you. Welcome to the committee.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Wonderful. My name is Carrie D'Avril. You were so close. And now I have to follow my high-up boss. So here we go. Always a good way to start my morning. So good morning, Education Conference Committee Chair and members. My name is Carrie D'Avril. I'm a licensed school nurse with Intermediate District 287. The school I work in, South Education Center, was the location of the school shooting on February 1st, 2022. As the only medical professional in the building, I was the first on scene to provide emergency care for all the students who were injured. One of the young men didn't make it, despite my efforts. Teachers are leaving the classroom in the middle of the year. It's never happened before. Teachers don't leave in the middle of the year. The last few years, we've been pummeled in a figurative heavyweight prize match. Each boxing round, more teachers refuse to stand back up. We're on our knees. The countdown, 3, 2, 1. Heads are down and we're broken. One by one, educators are leaving the fight. It hurts too much. Kids I care deeply for, fight for, value are being used as poker chips in an economic and societal gamble. My heart breaks as I watch stack after stack of kids being used as collateral in a game that's betting with their lives. My soul is being cashed out every day. I've got nothing left. School in the spring of 2020 with virtual learning is not the challenge that broke kids or broke the adults or broke the staff. It was beautiful and chaotic and messy and absolutely crazy. But there was a sense of partnership, camaraderie, deepening connection between home and school. There was beauty in the middle of that chaos. The true struggle is with the return to school. Kids returning to our direct care identified as at risk before the pandemic are coming back with 2 years of additional trauma and loss. Unique learners regressed in their skills, family and parent unemployment, immigration, deportation, racial harm, protests in the streets. Anger, regression, behavior, hopelessness in the hallways, symptoms of deep harm. Kids don't have the emotional language to express it. For a frame of reference, I'm old. I've been working in crisis shelters, inpatient mental health, child protection, schools for unique learners for close to a quarter of a century. Holy moly. Okay, over that time, I have followed psychotic kids into the Mississippi River. I've talked others off of bridges. I've held up dangling feet of a hanging child until EMS can arrive. I've held the hand of a child dying with HIV. I have dripped nutrition into a child who starved in my arms. And I've done CPR on a toddler with a adult-sized boot print on their chest. I could hear their ribs breaking. I have lost 6 kids directly under my hands in 25 years of being a nurse from direct harm that came from suicide, gun violence, lack of healthcare access, abuse, and racial violence. I call it sparkle. The sparkle in my head is starting to give me a little street cred. I'm not a spring chicken. Most people would probably affectionately call me a stubborn old bird. I'm a black belt in martial arts. I have 2 special needs kids. I can fight, advocate, and collaborate through almost anything. In my office, there is a mantra on my door that says, everything is figure-outable. Everything is figure-outable. So hear me. This is where I'm coming from, and this has been the hardest year of my career. Hear me. Many of you do not understand the depth of hurt in the eyes of the students I see every day. The harm done to kids in the last 2 years is so big. You see it in their body language. You read it in their writing. You see it in their art. It's hanging in our hallways for everyone to see. You watch them shut down, disassociate, give up, explode. They are screaming, I am not okay. The negative impacts of the pandemic on kids who are already vulnerable and at risk, they are harms and layers of trauma. They are at the breaking point, or they've already broken. It's the already broken ones that haunt me. The kids we cannot rebuild a relationship fast enough after we lost them for 2 years. Time and again, I see the young man that was killed in our school in my mind. I knew him for 5 years. Every day I walked by the last place I touched his cheek. Every day all of our staff walk by that spot. I keep seeing him in the snow. I kept trying to keep his heart with me long enough for help to come. He was just a lost kid. Adults were responsible for his loss. We are responsible. We could have saved him. I think of the 2 kids who shot him. I also know them. I think of their laughter in the years. They played soccer in the gym with me. I see their grins as this old lady tried to steal the ball from them. I can hear them apologize to me when I caught them running in the hallway. Once one of them came to my office after the gym. He'd sprained his ankle. He sat with me for 10 minutes. He told me about his life. He talked about a younger sibling. He told me he needed to hide in my office until his face dried. He had tears on his face, and he was embarrassed. He said, I can't cry. Men aren't supposed to cry. He was 15. At the time, he was one of the shooters who had so much hurt, parent loss, responsibility, and anger on life outside their control on his shoulders. He was one of my kids, too. He was also a lost kid. Not bad. I watch kids in the hallway, and I try to predict which one is going to break. My colleagues and I are on high alert, trying to intervene before the next break takes a life. We are on constant alert. We're not sure if it's going to be their own, and we're not sure if it's going to be somebody else. The guilt, the pressure is mounting. In Intermediate 287, we have all the kids that nobody else wants. You're glad to tuck them away. To put it bluntly, we take the throwaway kids, the kids that if they are away and out of sight, they can be forgotten by society. For myself, I stand before you today because I still have a desire to fight. I still want to stand up and speak for kids who cannot come here and speak to you today. I still believe in my colleagues. If they are given help and support, they will find the spark and love of teaching again. They will. These are the adults who say a good day is when they do a conga line to distract a kid from throwing a chair at their head. These people rock. We will find our spark again, but they need help. I still think all of you, I hope that you can do what's right. Is my trust misplaced? Edward James Olmos noticed that and said, the vaccine for violence is thought to be education and healthy relationships. Without help and healing, where will the souls of our kids be if the adults who every day model relationship and help them find their true identity walk away? Where will our kids be? A really long time ago, in college, I got to spend a good chunk of time in Western Kenya doing public health advocacy work with the Maasai tribe. I have never forgotten that every time their leaders meet to make decisions for the tribe, the grading is, so how are the children? They keep the next generation in mind when the leaders make their decisions. I'm asking you, how are our children? And I'm going to leave you with the voice of an 8-year-old. We were on buses waiting to be evacuated, and he was snuggled up next to his teacher on February 1st. And we had kids of all sizes, shapes, colors, abilities on these buses. And the staff were incredible. And he looked at me and he said, Kari, I want my mom. And I won't use his name, but I said, buddy, I know. I gotcha. Your teacher, who's awesome, she's gotcha. And he was snuggled up next to her and he said, Kari, this is a child who probably doesn't talk very much, screams a lot, and literally climbs our walls. Kari, I might look okay, but I'm not okay. I might look okay, but I'm not okay. I'm not asking for help. I believe you'll give it. Is my trust misplaced? Thank you.
Mr. Chair, one question.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Avriel, correct?
Close. Diaveril.
Clearly, you care a lot about the kids, and you've done this for years. It's a labor of love. I just want to clarify something. I mean, we don't consider these throwaway kids, correct? I think that's the
No.
wrong way to describe them, correct? You care about these kids. You've been here doing this for a long time. I don't think anybody would want to characterize them as throwaway kids, correct? I just want to make sure.
Not at all.
Mr. Averill.
No, not at all. But these are the kids that no one knows what to do, so they would prefer to tuck them away
They,
and to
yes,
care for them.
I would
Mr. Chair?
agree. Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I would agree. Difficult situations, and the way things have changed over the years, it's ended up in a bad spot. So thank you very much.
No problem. Thanks.
Any questions from any other members? Mr. Averill, thank you. Mr. Chair?
Just one quick thing, no disrespect intended, but my understanding with conference committees is they're between House and Senate to work out issues. Now, I do have a great amount of respect for the commissioner and Mr. Uni, but it is a conference committee between House and Senate, correct?
Mr. Chair, that's correct. Our task is to reach agreement and get a bill to the governor's desk that the governor will sign. The tradition that I'm familiar with in conference committee is that the commissioner and staff are at the table to help provide resources, provide insights, and be part of the conversation to get to that goal of a bill that the governor will sign.
So just one more question, Mr. Chair.
Certainly, Mr. Chair.
Shall I negotiate with the governor then and Mr. Uni, or should we continue to do this? I mean, ultimately, it's the governor who will decide. So is it the intent that we simply negotiate with the governor and sidestep the other proceedings?
Mr. Chair, no intent of that whatsoever.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next up, Jolie Holland, who's a school nurse and with the School Nurse Organization of Minnesota. Ms. Holland, welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Good morning, Chair Dabney and committee members. My name is Jolie Holland. I'm a licensed school nurse and serve as the legislative chair of the School Nurse Organization of Minnesota, known as SNO. I oversee 16 schools and programs in 11 locations in rural Minnesota. The school nurse is often the first point of contact for students experiencing mental health issues due to the physical symptoms that often accompany mental health. School nurses support mental health in many ways, but including, relaxation, breathing, problem solving, visualization, exercises, and sometimes tea and hot cocoa. We connect our students with our internal resources of the counselors and social workers, and we collaborate with outside providers on medication management and efficacy. And according to 2 different studies, it's estimated that over 30% of the students that we see daily come to our health offices with mental health issues. The unique thing about licensed school nurses, or LSNs, is that we're trained to look at the medical side of mental health. Many of the medications that students are on today have serious side effects and interactions. This week, I was called about a student that has had severe stomach issues for several weeks, and they thought it was due to eating habits, or maybe she had a little viral bug. But after looking at her medications and talking to her, we alerted her parent to the fact that she might be having serious side effects to the medication she was on, and that she needed to contact her healthcare provider immediately. And in fact, I just heard from her today, and she will be going in. I've noticed a major increase in the number of antidepressants, ADHD medications, and anxiety medications that students are on since I started 15 years ago. And my mother was a school nurse too. Our health offices caught many serious drug side effects that necessitated immediate actions to prevent serious, possibly life-threatening outcomes. Some of my students are on 3 or more psychoactive medications, and that's in addition to underlying health issues that they might have. Because I travel to many schools and carry a work phone, parents and sometimes students will reach out to me. Immediately after I testified last time, a student reached out to me that they were having a severe panic episode, and I was able to connect with them, talk to them about what was going on, which included a death in the family, a test anxiety, and also absenteeism issues that they were dealing with. I helped the student stay in school that day, and the student's been there since. One of my students is a young teen that has issues at home, so she often stays at various people's homes. She has a lot of trouble trusting, but she was able to share with me that she was pregnant, very scared, and had very limited resources. So I was able to get her access to the medical and mental health care that she needed for the health of the student and the baby. Because we're a safe haven, students feel like they can trust us. The random stomach aches, headaches, always wanting to miss fifth hour can be precursors of anxiety, depression, and class avoidance. We can often recognize the subtle signs of underlying problems and help them get the early intervention. We're trained to recognize abuse and self-harm and support students. We don't just do Band-Aids anymore. The School Nurse Organization of Minnesota believes from recent data that the majority of schools in Minnesota don't have a licensed school nurse, and in fact, many of them may have just a secretary or an unlicensed staff person who handles the medical needs of students. We hope this is something you as policymakers will rectify soon. When students don't have a licensed school nurse, they need a trusted source that understands the health, the legal, and the educational aspects of students. And that's why we must have a permanent licensed school nurse at the Minnesota Department of Education. On Friday, I had a call from a county nurse that was contacted by a charter school. And the school had a student with a serious health issue, and they needed help, and they had no nurse. So they had no idea where to turn, and I was able to let them know about the new temporary LSN at the MDE so they could get correct guidance. I don't know that I would have continued in school nursing had there not been an LSN at the MDE when I started school nursing. School nursing is complex, oftentimes confusing, and totally different than hospital nursing. The physical and mental needs of students is much more complex than when I started. We have to have a permanent LSN at the MDE. It's critical to school nurse office or health offices across Minnesota. So this is a provision in the House bill, and we strongly ask that the committee include the permanent LSN at the MDE. In the conference committee report, please remember that school health offices are often the first point of contact for students with mental health issues, and we desperately need your understanding, support, and funding. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Holland. Next on our agenda is Jennifer Steffen, principal at King Elementary and ISD 317. Principal Steffen, welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record and then tell the chair where ISD 317 is, please. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jennifer Steffen. ISD 317 is in Deer River. So good morning, Chairs Dabney, Chamberlain, and committee members. At King Elementary, we currently serve close to 500 preschool through fifth grade students. When the pandemic hit, the Deer River School District was better able to serve our families with our full-service community schools model firmly in place. Our full-service community school team has been a bridge to our community, helping get necessary paperwork completed so children can access mental health supports in the schools. These tasks would not have been completed as seamlessly without our full-service community schools framework and coordinator. We have a strong partnership with the Mental Health Agency, North Homes, Children and Family Services. We have a strong full-service community schools model implemented in both our elementary and high school. We have 4 mental health practitioners and 1 therapist to serve our elementary school. Each practitioner has 12 to 18 students on their caseload, depending on the needs of the children. We are seeing an increase in mental health disorders from preschool through grade 12 as a direct result of the pandemic. At our elementary school, we are able to support our students with staff specifically hired to respond to negative behaviors and mental health concerns. We have a dean of students, school social worker, ATSIS behavior support teacher, our full service community school team, and our North Homes practitioners. I know that most schools do not have this level of support. However, there are days when we require additional support for our students and we do not have the staff to respond. So the support has to come from the teacher. Our staff and students need additional access to mental health support as we move forward and heal following 2 very challenging school years. We have 1 therapist in the district to support all students who qualify for therapy. 1 therapist in each school would positively impact our students' mental health. When students experience mental health struggles, our staff members in turn often suffer from secondary trauma. We have teachers leaving the Deer River schools due to the increased demands of working with students suffering from mental health concerns and due to their own mental health struggles. We need more mental health support in our schools for students and staff if we are going to be able to return to the true mission of public schools, which is teaching and learning. We can ensure this through maintaining and expanding the full service community schools model and by investing in student support personnel across the state. Thank you. And I also wanted to say that I'm happy to represent Greater Minnesota and rural educators this morning. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Principal Steffen. And it is one of the benefits of the pandemic was the upgrade in technology that allows you to be in your building in Greater Minnesota today and here testifying before the conference committee. So thank you for taking time out of your day to be with us. Last on our agenda for this morning on the mental health emphasis is Christy McCoy, who's the legislative chair and a school social worker. Ms. McCoy, welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. My name is Christy McCoy, as mentioned, and I just want to thank you all for being here. So good morning, Honorable Chairs Davney and Chamberlain and conference committee members. My name is Christy McCoy, and I'm the current legislative chair for the Minnesota School Social Workers Association, MISWA. I'm the current president of the School Social Work Association of America, and I've been practicing as a school social worker in St. Paul schools for the past 19 years. School social workers have always been tirelessly dedicated to the mental health of students and the creation and maintenance of healthy school environments. Research has proven that school social work interventions are effective in helping children and adolescents obtain the necessary skills to solve problems, improve peer relations, improve intrapersonal functioning, and increase academic achievement. Prior to the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic, research showed that 1 in 4 children had been exposed to at least one traumatic event. Exposure to high levels of trauma, especially during a child's early years, can adversely affect a child's sense of security, attention span, memory, and ability to process information, and can lead to inconsistent school attendance and poor outcomes in adulthood. School social workers like myself have witnessed firsthand over the past 2 years how unresolved grief and loss, persistent anxiety and fears have overwhelmed the capacity of our students to cope, which has been impacting their educational experience. So to effectively mitigate the detrimental effects of this enduring public health crisis, a comprehensive approach is required to address the mental health needs of our students, which prioritizes access to vital resources such as school-employed mental health providers like school social workers, school-linked mental health programs, and establishing culturally responsive community partnerships. Students across the state of Minnesota, as you've been hearing from my colleagues, including our rural communities, are not immune to the collective trauma of the pandemic and its mental health and social impacts. Prior to the pandemic, students were already struggling with anxiety, depression, self-control, and trauma. But this year, students have required even more support in the classroom classroom and at school to be present and ready to learn. Every day, the mental health needs are apparent, and students are struggling to manage intense emotions, and this is impacting educational attainment. As a licensed clinical school social worker, I spend time assisting students in regulating their emotions and providing crisis management services to address issues related to suicidal ideation, domestic violence, homelessness, and death of loved ones, to name a few, so they are able to engage in their learning. For example, one particular family with whom I work has lost 3 members to death in the last 18 months, one of which was the father of my student. My role has also been in working with my teachers and providing education and training for staff and teachers on trauma-informed best practices to support students within their classrooms, as well as giving them a space to be able to support them. When students continue to struggle and to prevent ongoing challenges, a school team typically convenes to create plans to address the social, emotional, and behavioral barriers to student achievement. As a member of the student support team, I work with individuals and groups of students to provide skills training to improve coping, emotional awareness, and social skills to lessen a student's barriers to learning. I also work in collaboration with students and families to link them to culturally responsive community resources to meet their physical and emotional needs. As a school social worker and licensed mental health professional, I also serve on the school crisis team, lending my expertise, which allows us to address situations where escalation of behavior and student mental health crises have created risk to a student's own health and well-being or risk harm to other students. So more of these preventative activities and interventions are needed in all of our schools, but the resources are scarce, especially in our rural communities. The mental health needs are high. Students cannot learn if their mental health and physical needs are unmet, and ensuring access to vital physical and mental health resources must be a priority to not only support students, but also aid educators in their work. In addition to the proposed investment in literacy initiatives, MISWA is urging all of you to include the following provisions in the House File 4300 in the final Omnibus E12 Education Funding and Policy Bill. The House language in Article 6, Section 8 will help school districts put staff in place to strengthen school environments by providing revenue to hire school support personnel like school social workers. Investing in Article 6, Section 9 would create 2 positions at the Minnesota Department of Education to further help school districts and charter schools meet the mental health needs of their students and staff. While Article 2, Section 28 would also provide resources for school districts to implement a multi-tiered systems of support framework. And finally, Article 6, Section 7, that deals with mandatory mental health screening would help identify supports needed before a mental health crisis occurs. The value of investing in school-employed support personnel like school social workers, school nurses, school psychologists, and school counselors is that we can respond to crises and needs in the moment because we are embedded in the school community. However, there are many schools that are unable to meet the complex and increasing needs due to inequitable funding. So investing now in our children and schools is an investment in their healing, recovery, and ability to learn. Thank you for allowing me to be here today and for your time.
Thank you, Ms. McCoy. We have at least one member who has a question, I believe, for you, Representative Erickson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm not sure if Ms. McCoy can answer this question, and this is not under the purview of our committee, it's under HHS, but we should have knowledge at least of how well the school-linked mental health grants have worked. I heard Ms. McCoy talk about links with the community, and because the county social workers are so engaged in the school-linked mental health grants, I don't know if Ms. McCoy can comment on that, or, Mr. Chair, if you've considered hearing about the effectiveness of those. Thank you.
Interesting question, Representative Erickson. Ms. McCoy, can you shed any light on that for us?
I would be happy to shed a little bit of light on that. I think in order for the school-linked mental health programs to work effectively, it really is about that collaboration and coordination with school employed mental health providers like myself, for example. I have a partnership with a therapist from our Southeast Asian program at Wilder Foundation, and she comes into our building every day, and we work in collaboration. And so what we know know is that when the school-linked programs work best, it is with that true collaboration between the school staff that exists and that we continue to work together. And so that has been really pivotal. I don't have any numbers, and that would be out of my purview to really talk to the effectiveness of School Linked, but it really is, honestly, when we talk about that mental health service continuum, it really requires all of those aspects. It's not an either or, it really is a both and. So I hope that helps.
I think that does, Ms. McCoy, but Representative Erickson, you raise an interesting question, and I also, of course, appreciate your reminding us that that's an HHS provision. Did you have more to say, Representative? Okay. Mr. Chair.
Yeah, thank you. Just briefly, I really don't have a question. I thank the chair for the presentation and the testifiers on this extremely important and difficult issue, and it is difficult and it is important. But if I were an artist and I were painting a picture, it would indeed be a very bleak picture after the testimony of 20-some individuals. I think we had a couple students and mostly professionals. Certainly an extremely bleak picture. One of, I may say, chaos and despair and hopelessness, even some degree of failure. So it begs a lot of questions. It really does. It really does. So I thank the testifiers, and it was good to hear the testimony, but it begs a question. How in the world did we end up here? How did we go from one of the greatest schooling states in the nation to this? I think that's, we get to that root of that question, perhaps we'll get some answers to our questions, but I'm really left in a bit of a quandary here. I can't imagine where we've fallen so far. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Chair, I appreciate that. I, to be frank, struggle to be an optimist. I don't think it's the first choice in my nature, but I try. So appreciating the statement you just made, at the same time, what we heard, perhaps most powerfully from Ms. Averill was the resolve. The Averill was the resolve. And we've seen throughout all of the testimony from the social workers, the principals, the teachers, and so on, was the ongoing commitment to their students, to their academic learning, as well as their social development and their well-being. The House has attempted to reflect that in our bill. You heard from Ms. McCoy just last, supporting this provision in the bill and that provision in various parts of the bill. We have, just to help coordinate our future negotiations, a document that pulls out from the various articles of the bill our different student well-being and mental health provisions. And I've adopted the language of student well-being and mental health. And this may be a place, Mr. Chair, that you and I may be very similar. I've been as I think I may have said on Monday, I've been a strong supporter of school-linked mental health in the past. I've carried those bills earlier in the history of that program, because when a kid's needs are that significant, getting barriers out of the way to that individual child is critical. At the same time, I'm frustrated that too many kids end up at that point on the spectrum of mental health. And so I hope that embedded in our proposals this year, our various proposals, is a look to student well-being. How can we work upstream to ensure that students have the skills they need, the relationship skills they need, the problem-solving skills they need, the personal insights, the network of caring adults in their lives that they need to help prevent them from getting to that clinical point. I was struck by Monday's testimony that students, perhaps when you and I were in school, it was about drugs and alcohol, it was about pregnancy, it was about acting out. And now for whatever reasons, the imponderable that you just asked, kids seem to be imploding in, was the testimony. Anxiety, depression, and other concerns. I don't know why. And I would imagine we could spend the summer looking into that and still not come up with a clear answer. But I think the students and the staff today need us to come up with the best answer we can find. We made some progress last year. I'll certainly credit you on the digital well-being. That's a part of it, but there's all sorts of stresses and strains that students experience that need our response. And the good news is we have the resources. Historically, we've argued that, well, Minnesota just doesn't have the resources we need. We could get into a philosophical discussion, Mr. Chair, as to whether that was true at the time or not. It certainly is not true today. We've got the resources that students need for the resources that they need across the state. We prioritize direct services to students, to those individuals, through student support personnel aid so that there's more caring adults in the schools with the skills that are needed. Grow your own funding so that we can help build that pipeline. Workforce is the issue of the day. We need to be attending to the education workforce as well. We just heard testimony about the importance of the mental health leads and the nurse lead at MDE so that, again, schools have access to the resources they need to help guide them. We're a big believer in the multi-tiered systems of support so that we can identify struggling learners, whether it's struggling because like little Jim in second grade who couldn't read well and needs some additional support around that, or the kid who's struggling with the stresses and strains of family and community and needs those sorts of supports. The provision we have about level 4 programs across the state has been made, I think, powerfully. The full service community schools, as the principal was saying this morning, Ms. Steffen, because we know, we sometimes try to abstract the child out of the family and the family out of the community. And we know that isn't actually the way the world works. That's not the way life works. We pick up a proposal that was initially from Representative Erickson, 2 proposals, elementary school counselors for private schools funded by the public, and including tribal contract schools in those same provisions of services. The voluntary mental health screening, and this is one that I find, frankly, particularly disturbing that we need to carry, but language allowing schools to have narcotic antagonists for those schools who see they need it. I have constantly been astounded by the opioid epidemic that as a country we've been facing. And to have schools come forward and tell us that they need to have Narcan at the nurse's office. They need a nurse and they need Narcan at the office is just something I really cannot fathom. We also recognize in the House bill that students don't learn in environments that are traumatic. So our policy proposal on malicious and sadistic conduct, an apparent epidemic we've been seeing in the media this year. Training for school administrators so that they know how to approach these things better. A model social emotional learning policy. Posters up for child abuse hotlines so that kids themselves can reach out and ask for the help that they need. We hear the need, as you've just referenced, Mr. Chair. We have the resources. So when we get to a time of exchanging proposals, you can expect a priority on student well-being and mental health from the House to support student learning. Mr. Chair?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The challenge and something I'm having a hard time reconciling is, and some of these things are obviously agreeable, no doubt, but I've simply heard the promise from politicians and bureaucrats over the decades. I remember back in the early 2000s, before I got involved in anything, I was opposed to the federal government's No Child Left Behind stuff. We are simply suffocating under, we've heard the promises over and over again, we're suffocating under this bureaucracy. What are the real solutions to these problems, and what kind of results? I must say that in 2013, there were all kinds of promises from the opposition party in the state in passing what they called, quote, the grand slam, unquote, of a bill, the biggest education bill ever, a bill that would end the achievement gap, the bill that would solve numerous problems with the mandates and policies and programs. Indeed, in 2014, we passed the anti-bullying bill. What did we hear in the last Monday and today with testimony? What problem has the state solved for these kids? What problems have the state solved for the teachers? We continue to promise all these solutions, and we'll pour on programs and pour in money and pour in mandates and policy. To what end? The world's best workforce is not correlated with any success. Show me the success correlation with the world's best workforce. Show me. We're at 50% literacy. We had numerous testifiers in the last 2 days, Monday and today, I should say, that talked about education and literacy and academics and how powerful that is. Everybody seems to agree with those ideas, but yet we continue to spitball this thing and throw things at the wall, hoping something will change. It's prima facie evidence. We have to target our solutions for these kids and for these educators. Just pouring in more policy and pouring on more money and throwing more programs in there, how does that help? How does it help? Some do. We have to be targeted, we have to be smart. None of us at this table have a problem finding solutions and fixing problems. That's truly what I believe we want. Perhaps I should have saved these comments for later, but we did just end quite a lengthy discussion on mental health. And some of these may in fact work, but again, we've had 20 years of this at least, and here we are. Literacy proficiency at 50%, and for children of color, 30. The trend has been down since 2014. Look, I'm just truly at a loss. We're being asked to pour more money in programs and policies and mandates on the schools. What has it wrought? What has it brought us? For all the people out there advocating that we continue to do this, for what end? Let's target our approach, let's target our efforts, let's focus hard on these things. Throwing $1 billion at this and spitballing this is what we're doing here. There are true problems out there that need to be addressed. Problems that were unforced errors on these kids and these teachers. Not necessary. Not necessary. That's another debatable issue. Let's focus and target our solutions to something that might produce tangible results. That is my plea. And we've heard some of this stuff today that all these programs were Monday that were supposed to resolve and fix, and it did nothing. Nothing. Thank you for indulging.
No indulgement at all, Mr. Chair. I think you and I agree more than the public might think.
God willing.
You know, I remember when Senator Olson drove initiatives on literacy with the promises that this would do it. And it hasn't done it.
I know why.
Mr. Chair?
Pell's being higher ed didn't do their jobs. In statute, Pellsby is supposed to ensure that the colleges and institutions prepping our teachers or to get science or reading, learn how to teach kids to read. That's been in statute for 10 years. And when Pellsby sat right here and I asked them, did you approve these two colleges for their science or reading course? They said, yep. And I said, do you know that they recently changed their program because they weren't teaching it? Do you know Pellsby has a test for teachers to ensure that they know science or reading? Yep. But you know what? They didn't. Thousands of teachers were shortchanged and hundreds of thousands of kids graduated not knowing how to read. So that's why it happened. We've been compartmentalized and siloed and nobody's talking to each other for some reason. But it's been in statute, it was supposed to be addressed, it was enabling, it was there, that was the intent. It was clearly not done. Teachers have come to us and said they never got it. Superintendent said we got teachers that don't know how to teach reading, so we should get a reading certification. Found out the statute's there. So even when we write it, it's not being done. I'm going to go really deep now, Commissioner. We had the smartest, we had Dr. Commissioner Casilius, we had Commissioner Ricker, we have Dr. Mueller. I'm not a PhD. I'm not. We found the statute. I'm not on the board of Pell's because I'm not an educator. That's why it failed. That's why it failed. So you can only do so much. But when we put letters out there last year, Mr. Chair, and you agreed to that, those teachers gobbled it up, and I have heard from them individually through email, personal contacts in the district and throughout the state. They thanked us because they love it, and they took it back to the classroom, got immediate results. So that, in my opinion, is why. We threw all that stuff out there. It was under our noses. It was right there. We knew it. They knew it. And they failed to do it. Now, Pellsby's going to be mad at me. Colleges will be mad at me. But if I'm speaking the truth and they're mad at me for speaking the truth, then I'm okay with that. Because that's what happened. That's what happened. So why did it happen? I think that's the answer, Mr. Chair. You were fortunate, you probably know, I mean, you're a senior man, but you were fortunate enough to get the reading stuff you needed before it went south. So why did it get missed? But it was there, and now we are trying to go back and get those teachers what they need for the kids. So thank you again for indulging.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. Commissioner, you got referenced there. So house tradition is the volley goes to you.
Well, thank you and good morning. I appreciate the opportunity, and I think Senator Chamberlain and Representative Davney, I think a couple of pieces that we know to be true is that we are having these conversations as if it's an either or, and our conversations are actually and. We know that there is a growing body of research that is giving information about when there are two models to really consider, is that there are students who struggle with mental health and supports, and they also struggle with, then as a result have a struggle with reading, and then there are students who, because they are struggling with reading, also then begin to struggle with mental health. And so we also know that within that growing body of evidence, that the need to be able to ensure that we have mental health supports in line and in place means that we have people who can provide ongoing ongoing support and who can provide ongoing meeting the needs, not only mental health of our students, but also the academic needs of our students. Even in studies, this is not a Minnesota issue. This is a nationwide issue when we're looking at questions around mental health and where I think the question you asked, Chair Chamberlain, is about the devolving within that. We know that in a 2019 study that we had, that nationwide, that there were nearly 1 in 5 students that didn't have access to a school counselor or student support personnel, which left about 8 million students without access to mental health supports in their schools. We also know that there are roughly 1.7 million students that go to school with a police officer in their school, but not a school counselor. And so there are pieces that we know that we need to be able to address that are in addition to, sorry, oh, I don't have this on, so sorry. I apologize for that. And so when we think about providing ongoing support, we also need to recognize that the University of Minnesota did a study and looked at the implications of having student support personnel in the classroom and in the schools and its implications on student achievement. And what they found in 2016 was that there were 1 in 5 Minnesota 8th graders that didn't have access to a school counselor or a student support personnel in their schools, and that students without access to those student support personnel tended to be African American or Black, Native American, eligible for free reduced price meals, or lived in a rural community, which also tends to align with our data that demonstrates gaps in achievement. And so where we have also, I think, struggled is not only with the implementation of the science of reading, which, you know, there were reading wars and the debate between that, which is why in statute there's language that says the word balanced, and everyone is seeking to change that from balance to like the science of reading. And we also know that we have not done our due diligence with providing support for mental health services. We know that there are only 3 states that lag behind us in the state of Minnesota in counselors, and that's Arizona, Illinois, and Michigan. And so our neighboring states have a different ratio to that. We also know that there are 23, I think there are 23 states that require that there are some type of counselors, social workers, school psychologists in the schools, and Minnesota is one of only 20 states that does not. And so when we look at the correlation between mental health and achievement, we cannot separate the two and talk about literacy. We know the implications of literacy. We actually know that anxiety, we also know that the impacts of anxiety is that we see that there's a strong correlation between social anxiety and reading comprehension, because more complex tasks actually take significantly more taxing work and memory, which is like reading comprehension. They're more affected by anxiety tasks than those that rely heavily on working memory, such as reading fluency. And so being able to have those two pieces are important to note. And so I don't know that we're actually having a conversation that is about it's one model or the other. I think that we need to be having the conversation about it's and there's a beauty in and a tyranny in or.
Thank you.
Chair, Mr. Chair.
I'm sorry, but this is interesting. We all, again, agree that mental health is important, and children have always had some degree of it, and different things in family life and culture certainly have an impact on that. But I'm going to say flat out, Commissioner, those are ridiculous correlations. Up to 2012, reading scores in Minnesota were increasing. Did we have higher numbers of counselors and therapists in schools at that time? I would dare ask, Mississippi is beating us, especially in the area of, I'm sure you've done your research by now, Mississippi especially is beating us in the NAEP when it comes to children of color, African-American children and Hispanics. Does Mississippi spend more per child? Does Mississippi have the extensive money, the amount of money to pour into pre-K and all that stuff? Do they have a therapist and a counselor in every room? I think these are important things, but I think you're putting the cart in front of the horse. Fix the reading and the literacy that has been ignored. And I believe that's a big step towards solving a lot of the problems. If a child now from first and second grade and suffered through the last 2 years, they're way behind, and you know that, we all do. So should they learn to read so they can function and work in the classrooms and be confident and not come to school with with a knot in their belly, thinking they're going to be ostracized and they can't do anything, they're not productive. Fix reading, still address mental health, but you're putting the cart in front of the horse. A lot of these problems, like I said, were unforced. There's no reason these kids shouldn't be reading. There's no reason that they should be in the condition they're in. And I think we have to target and focus those results, and I think it starts with the literacy piece, and certainly address some of the mental health issues. And our proposals, we have school linked, we have safe school proposals, and I do say growing the information about social media and digital health, digital screens. I think those three things will go a long way to normalize and stabilizing the classroom again. So there's several components, as you mentioned, Commissioner, but I think a lot of states, our state was performing before 2013, 2014. We were increasing generally on MCAs, and we've seen a steady decline since 14. I think there's, I won't go over that again, but I think that other states have succeeded, and other schools across this country and across Minnesota have succeeded with at-risk youth. I will be very blunt. We have to stop making excuses. Goodness gracious. I just read about another study by Dr. Roland Fry. He did a few years back, along with Dr. Benjamin Chavis before that, just shortly before that. To say these kids can learn. They can learn. It's been shown and proven with the same at-risk kids. We had to stop making excuses, focus on literacy, focus on these targeted things, and let's agree on the mental health pieces we can agree on without, again, burdening the entire system with more policies and programs. I will just say that our safe school plan that we all agree with, we can juice that up a bit and focus on a real target. I think the intermediates and co-ops should be a focused area. They should be a focused area and get a lot more support, because that is a concentration of challenges that need to be addressed. Again, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Well, Mr. Chair, it's all part of the process, right? And again, I think you will find that if given the opportunity, we share many of the same frustrations, and maybe even have similar willingness to cheese a few people off.
Jeez.
Yeah. I'm choosing my language here carefully. To anger some people, if that's what's needed. I think where the House is coming from is, rather than centering a program, we're centering students. And I think my fear is that if we fail to see students and place them as the center, we can continue along the path that I think you would say we've been doing. Another program, another bureaucracy, another initiative, and another failure. That we need to recognize that the students are in families, the students are in communities, they're in schools, and their experience there, their well-being, their family's well-being, their school community's well-being, all influences their learning, along with the skills, preparation, and effectiveness of their teachers. I think we've got more in common than some folks might think.
Well, yeah, we probably do. I just think that sometimes people, no disagreement with you, Mr. Chair, we had to all be careful about, and I will probably be pulled up on this petard as well, but the data and the studies, the good results are out there. It's possible. And that's why I'm optimistic. You know, it's odd to me that we have success stories in areas of public schools and in non-public schools across this state and throughout the country that have been turned around on a few basic ideas and concepts. And it includes involving parents and community in those discussions to ensure success of the students in the school to buy into a particular program, high expectations, accountability, and that they can learn. And it's been shown time and again. I keep referencing, Dr. Benjamin Chavis out in California took 5 charter schools. 1 didn't buy into the plan, so he did 4. They were bottom percentile, bottom 5, 10% of performance in the schools in the state. And when he was done, they were top performing in the state, top 5 or 10%, and wrote books and got in 60 Minutes back in the day. So it's possible. We do it here. Hiawatha, Best and Crystal Ray and others take at-risk kids and do it. So smart, targeted, focused, reading. It was going up before 2012. So I don't think we had one-on-one or a much lower ratio of counselors and therapists at that time. But I don't know that the promise of a therapist in every school, nobody can promise me that if you put a therapist in every school that's going to improve outcomes, for goodness sake. Kids need confidence and know that they're learning, and sure, we need help in mental health, but I think there's other ways to do it. We should move on, perhaps, Mr. Chair?
We should. We've got a few members who have what, at this point, I'm hoping are brief comments. Representative Hassan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is, I have to unmute myself here too, sorry. No. Oh, why did it say unmute? Okay, never mind. Technology, it's only useful when it works. Well, thank you. This is a wonderful conversation. And there was so much that have been said. I'm not gonna go back, but I wanna highlight one thing. If reading was the solution to our problems, we would all agree today and all go home. And children of Minnesota would have the resources that they need, which is just, okay, fund literacy, everybody goes home. Every teacher, every student, everyone is happy, but that's not the case. What happens to our students when they experience trauma? Their brain shuts down. They don't learn. So we have students who are experiencing racism. We have students who are experiencing homophobia, Islamophobia, students who are being discriminated because of disability. Those students can't learn because they don't feel safe. We have been hearing in our committee at the House, we have heard from young girls who said that our hijabs have been ripped off every single day. I wear hijab. I'm a Muslim woman. I wear hijab. This is very important to me. If every day I came into work, somebody ripped off my hijab, I can't do my work, I can't function. So imagine an 8-year-old whose hijab has been ripped off every single day. Is she gonna learn how to read? Absolutely not. She's just gonna learn how to disassociate, how to hide, how to just find a corner to feel safe. So talking about reading is important. Every child should have the ability to read, but also every child should have the ability to feel safe at their school environment, to feel that they belong into that environment, that the adults in the room are keeping them safe, have the resources. A lot of times, teachers are telling us, I'm the only adult in the room, and there are multiple crises happening at any given moment. How is that teacher or that adult in that room supposed to put out all these crises and still continue to teach? Have we failed our students? Yes, we have. I think all of us agreed on that. We have failed our students. But I think we need to pass the point of literacy is the answer. Yes, we need literacy. But some of us, when we were growing up, there was no TikTok, there was no Instagram, there was no Facebook. And today, children's stressors are different. the amount of pressure that are on our young people are different than when we all grew up, and many of us, all you did was like spend time outside. Our kids are not even feeling safe to be outside in some neighborhoods. Our kids are not feeling safe at their own homes. We have kids who are coming from, trauma upon trauma, homelessness, abuse, drug use in their family, displacement, immigration, you name it. That kid comes to school, they're not there to learn, they're there to have few moments of sanity or safety until they go back to whatever chaos is waiting back home for them. So we really need to have a bigger conversation than literacy. I'm all for literacy. I have a 2.5-year-old that I am trying to teach her how to read today. And everybody's telling me you're crazy, she can't learn. That's how literacy is important to me. And my son was reading before he started kindergarten. But literacy is not the only problem. This is yes, literacy, and yes, mental health, and yes, resources for our students, and yes, and yes, and yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Hassan. Chair Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And, I just want to reiterate a couple of things because I think we all do believe that literacy is important and that that's a key foundation. But we also have to recognize here in Minnesota that we don't currently have an equal opportunity for our kids to be in the classroom. And there's data that speaks to that point. And if we don't have an equal opportunity for our kids in K through 3rd grade to be in the classroom at the same levels as their peers when you're looking at Black students, Indigenous students, and students with disabilities, we're going to continue to see the same poor outcomes. The data tells us that Indigenous students are 10 times more likely to be expelled or suspended. Indigenous students make up 1.6% of our student population, and they're 10 times more likely to be expelled or suspended. Black students are 8 times more likely. Students with disabilities are twice as likely to be suspended. And when you look at the impact of just having one suspension during a child's school career, they are 10 times less likely to graduate from high school. They are twice as likely to get involved with the criminal justice system. And when we look at the stories from across the state, because we've heard them in our committee multiple times, the kids who are being expelled and suspended from schools in disproportionate ways, we're not talking about violent outbursts. We're talking about kids who have been suspended for spending too much time in the bathroom. We're talking about kids who have been suspended because a teacher took their chapstick and they ran away from the classroom. We can look at the data and see that there's disparities, that Black students, Indigenous students, students with disabilities are being treated differently for the exact same behavior as their peers. If these kids are not in the classroom, they will not meet developmental milestones. And Minnesota has one of the worst school discipline disparity rates in the entire nation. It's almost twice the national rate when we're looking at the ability for our kids to be in the classroom who are Black and Indigenous and students with disabilities. So if we don't address that issue, we will continue to have the same opportunity gap. We will continue to have the exact same achievement gap. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Chair Richardson. Looking at the time, there's more conversation to have. Trust we will have that, but we've got a couple of individuals who traveled to testify today, and I want to be respectful of them. So, Mr. Chair, we're going to pivot at this point to starting our conversation on special education. And I want to start with Bill Schwant, Mr. Schwant, who's ESP president from the Bloomington Public Schools. Mr. Schwant, please come forward. Find yourself a seat there at the Starship Command Center and introduce yourself for the tape and proceed with your testimony. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners Dabney and Chamberlain. As I was introduced, my name is Bill Schwant. I am the president of the Bloomington Federation of Paraprofessionals, and more importantly, I am a special ed paraprofessional. I work with students in the multi-categorical program at Poplar Bridge Elementary School in Bloomington. I'm here to speak about the need for funding to provide paraprofessionals across our state with meaningful professional development. Currently, Minnesota Statute 125A.08, Section C, Parts 1 and 2 state that each school board should ensure that the district provides professional development opportunities for paraprofessionals, but that's not occurring. This part of that statute, again, equates to an unfunded educational mandate. In my own district, we receive 1 6-hour day of professional development at the beginning of the school year. During that day, we are treated to such scintillating subjects as mandated reporting, maltreatment of minors, data privacy, bloodborne pathogens, how to use the time clock system, and how to enter if we're going to be absent. While many of those topics are important in their own right, none of those topics allow for our paraprofessionals to develop the knowledge and skills specific to working with the students in the classroom. In talking with paraprofessional leaders from around the state, this is not a problem exclusive to Bloomington. This is a statewide problem. Paraprofessionals come from many walks of life, and many have little or no experience in working with students receiving special education services prior to starting their positions. For new paraprofessionals who start prior to the school year, they are afforded an opportunity to learn a little about the students they'll be working with. But once the school year has started and a paraprofessional is hired, they typically are thrown right into the fire. They show up and they say, you're going to work with student A, B, and C, good luck. Without paraprofessional development upon employment and annual opportunities, paraprofessionals may never develop the skills and understanding necessary to make a positive and meaningful impact on a student's education. One of the outcomes of the COVID pandemic is that paraprofessionals are an integral part of the educational system, and especially for those students who are receiving special education. Investment in professional development for paraprofessionals is not only an investment in paraprofessionals, but it is an investment in students. Psychologist Abraham Maslow developed a concept called Maslow's hammer. This concept revolves around the quote, "If all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail." Students, especially those in special education, need paraprofessionals with a full tool chest so that we can better serve their needs. I urged the committee to please include 20 hours of paid paraprofessional training in your final agreement. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schwant. Next and last of our testifiers for this morning is Superintendent John Magus from Duluth. Superintendent. Welcome to the committee, sir. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony. Thank you for coming down.
Thank you. John Magus, Superintendent. Chair Davney, Chair Chamberlain, Representatives, Senators, thank you for the opportunity to be with you here today. My name is John Magus, and I'm the Superintendent of Duluth Public Schools. Our Chief Financial Officer, Kathy Erickson, is also joining us by Zoom. Our faces and Duluth special education challenges are by now familiar to most of you. Thank you for the time that you have spent with us in dialogue, trying to come to resolution over the years as we work to find results for special education funding, tuition, and cross-subsidy issues that have negatively impacted Duluth Public Schools and so many other districts around the state. To give you a brief summary of our unique funding challenges, when new special education funding formulas were created in 2016, Duluth Public Schools was unexpectedly billed through special education tuition more than double than what we had received in previous years. And that led to having a lower base for us to collect special education funding reimbursements thereafter. And with tuition billing costs being a negative adjustment to revenue rather than recognized as an expense in our budget, it was difficult to see on paper those impacts, making it challenging to budget reviews when tuition billing was as volatile as it has been over the past few years. Duluth Public Schools encourages and continues to support the need for work groups related to special education funding and tuition billing. Duluth's participation in the school finance work facilitated by the Department of Education from 2019 to 2021 led to recommendations to special education tuition billing, and we continue to advocate for more work to improve the billing inequities between districts. Tuition billing and cross-subsidy continue to create challenges for school districts across the state. From fiscal year 2016 to fiscal year 2021, Duluth Public Schools has a combined adjusted net cross-subsidy of over $42,373,000. This is in addition to the projected loss of over $5 million since 2016 due to our special education funding anomaly due to tuition billing impacts. Members, Duluth Public Schools currently has over 90 students in special education evaluation status in the past 30 days, and an additional 16 students in early childhood that have been identified as needing services in those same 90 days. Also, the number of students needing important extended year school supports has also doubled in the past 2 years. While we are recovering from enrollment loss due to pandemic as a whole, our special education students counts continue to grow. Our staff, our teachers, and our special education leaders continue to share these needs and requests to support our students qualifying for special education services. And we continue to struggle to find the funding to meet all of those important requests. Members, we need your help. We recognize that this is not a budget year. Unfortunately, in the past budget years, our state hasn't been successful in solving the special education funding gap identified as cross-subsidy. This year, with a $9.25 billion surplus, we have the chance to pay for services that school districts are required to provide, but which have never been fully funded. Your support is vital as we strive to meet the unfinished learning needs of the students and families that we serve, especially the needs of our special education students who are disproportionately impacted through the pandemic. But today, I come to you not just as a superintendent. Nearly 30 years ago, I started my career in education as a special education paraprofessional. This past year, I had the opportunity to again serve in that role as a substitute paraprofessional for our highest need special education students during the height of the staffing shortages in January and February. I also, I'm a former associate superintendent who implemented letters deeply in my previous district and saw great results. But most importantly, I'm the father of a special education student who, despite being extremely bright, struggled to learn during the past 2 years of the pandemic. When I watch the students in our district and state struggle similarly, I want the same thing I want for my own child: enough support to be successful in meeting their fullest potential. I applaud the things that this committee is considering. When I think about the literacy needs of the district, when I think of the state, when I think of the mental health needs of the state, and when I think of the special education funding needs of the state, these are all very important. And I think it's important to recognize that we're at a point where we can look at it being an and rather than an either or in our solution. As you consider how to fund and support school districts, especially those students with special needs, please remember the 1,744 public and non-public students receiving special education special education support in Duluth Public Schools. The House Omnibus bill helps solve this problem and eliminates these funding mandates. On behalf of Duluth Public Schools, I urge this conference committee to help students, families, and the districts by supporting cross-subsidy investments and paying the past due amounts to make our districts whole. Thank you for your time, and we are happy to answer any questions for you.
Thank you, Superintendent Magus. Chair Chamberlain has a question for you.
Just a quick one. What percentage of your students are considered special education?
Superintendent Magus?
Yes, approximately 17.5.
Chair Chamberlain?
17. Thank you. Real quickly, I know we spoke about the calculation issue with the billing. What is that? Do you have off the top of your head what that costs?
The
Superintendent Magus?
Yes. Thank you, Chair, Mr. Chair. The total cross-subsidy effect was over $43 million.
I mean, just for, I understand you had a calculation problem with billing with some other.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that piece.
Superintendent, that hiccup, or?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That was a $5 million hiccup over
Okay.
the course of the past 6 years.
And that's ongoing, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So, members, we're not quite done with our work for today. So as noted on the agenda, we'll recess until approximately 5 o'clock. That accommodates the Senate E12 committee having this room previous to that, or the call of the chair. With that, members, we stand in recess. Mr. Chair?
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.